Hey, Determined Destiny family, it's Coach Kevin coming back at you with another video for the Determined Destiny family. Hey, this one is crazy because I just kind of stumbled up on this thought and this lesson with this video. So if you're not a current subscriber, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Determined Destiny. I want to encourage you to check us out on Facebook as well as the website, determineddestiny.org. But today's lesson is going to be a good one that you may not have ever thought about, but if you put some thought to it, you have some good takeaways to be able to have some discussion with our young men about. So here's the deal. You know, there's times in our lives when we just kind of know something's not right? Things just don't feel right. So I'm driving along in my truck, right? And I start to get to a certain speed and my steering wheel begins to shake. And you know, I've experienced this before, and so I thought, okay, something's going on with one of my tires or something, and so I must have something in the tire or something that's causing it to wobble a little bit, or maybe the balance of my tires in the front are not right. And so, you know, I go on a day or two with this feeling, and I'm just like, man, this just doesn't feel right. Something's not right about this, and so I got to go get this checked out. And so I take it to this mechanic and I say, hey, I'm not exactly sure what's going on with it, but I have an idea of what's going on with it. And the wheel shakes when I get to a certain speed. And then when I'm hitting the brakes, I feel it shaking a little bit as well. And so we get to talking about it, and he's, you know, throwing some things out there. But then he comes up and says, hey, I need to keep it for a couple of hours so I can check out under the hood. I can check your brakes. I can check the tires. And I'm thinking in my head, like, well, I don't want to stop, my whole weekend and give you the car for a couple of hours and then have to figure out like what I'm going to do for a couple of hours. And then really on a Saturday, a couple of hours means you're going to keep it till Monday, really and truly. Sometime Monday, I get the car back. And I'm just like, I don't really want to do that because I got things I need to do. And so then, you know, we get to discussing it a little bit, and I said, well, is there any way that like you could just get it in and just check it out? You don't have to fix the problem. Just be able to tell me what the problem is so that I can then evaluate and decide what I want to do about it. And then so he's like, well, that's, I can do that, but I got this in front of you and that in front of you, and it's, it's just going to take a little bit. And so then, I tell him, okay, give me a few minutes and let me think this through and figure out what I want to do with this. Because, I could still drive it. It wasn't that big of a deal to where I couldn't drive it. I just knew something wasn't right. And so then it hit me. Sometimes in our life, we're driving along and we could keep doing life the way that we're doing it, but something's not right. And the only way that you can really address that is if you are willing to stop long enough and do a diagnostic evaluation to figure out what's really going on. We have to be able to stop long enough and pause, do a self-check and say, why am I feeling this way? What's got me shaking inside, whether that's with anxiety or just feeling uneasy about something that's going on in the inside, whether that's in our head we feel that, or in our heart we feel that, or in our gut we feel, just something's not right. And so as I was kind of contemplating on what to do with the car, I just began to think about there's moments in our life where we got to be willing to slow down and put some things on hold, say no to some things so that we can get some things right and be better in the long run. And so, as I'm sitting here contemplating on my next moves with this truck, I begin to think about okay, well, what could go wrong? What if I continue to drive this, when am I going to be able to get it in? And I'm thinking well, it's going to be at least another week. And then so I'm thinking, well, what else could go wrong if I keep driving this thing like this for another week? What's the potential dangers here? And so that's where I got back to him with the conversation around, hey, let's take a look at this thing real quick and then see what the potential dangers are if I continue to drive my truck in this format. And so we got around it and was looking around the car and noticed on one of the tires, it was wearing on the inside of the tire, just on the inside of the tire. And then we looked at the other tires and there was no wearing. So it was just on one of them. And so what that got him to thinking about is, oh, you got an alignment problem. And I thought, wow. So, you're driving along, you're doing life, and things don't feel right. And you've got an alignment problem because your life and the things that you're doing aren't in alignment with your values and what you truly believe. And this is something we've got to teach our young men, definitely. Like, you can't do things that are not in alignment with who you are or who you believe you are as a person. If somebody, and I'm just going to be real, y'all, if somebody's inviting you to smoke weed and that's not a value of yours, that's not something that you do as a young man, then you can't do that thing because you'll be out of alignment and you won't feel right. Then you can't be successful. You can't move on through life in a smooth manner because you've got that thought of, I'm doing something that's not in alignment with who I am as a person. And that really began to sink in with me. And long story short, in terms of the truck, once he said, yep, I think you've got an alignment problem. I can get you in 2 hours. And I'm like, okay, 2 hours, I can handle that. That's not a big deal. So leave the truck there, let him do what he's got to do to get that taken care of. But the more I thought about this in terms of a lesson around alignment, because that key word right there really sat in with me when he said you got an alignment problem. The thing that I really wanted to reflect on and think about and hone in on was the fact that there's something going on with the tire that I didn't know about because of this misalignment. The tire was wearing out on the inside and was eventually going to blow if I continue to be out of alignment. The same with our life. If we are out of alignment with who we are and our values and who we believe to be as a person, then if you continue going through life out of alignment, you're going to blow at some point. Whether that is you're going to have a mental breakdown, you're going to go off on somebody that you shouldn't have went off on, or you're simply going to change your values to be of a lesser standard because you just can't take the misalignment anymore. And so I want to encourage our young men. And I know we have some young men that watch the videos and we've got some parents that watch the videos. So my encouragement is to take the time to stop and figure out what's got you feeling out of balance, what's got you shaking a little bit. Truly, take the time to figure out what that is and then get back in alignment. Make the hard decisions, give up the time, give up the whatever that commitment is to get yourself back in alignment so that you can feel good. And I can't wait to pick my truck up again. I know I'm going to have to get a new tire because it was worn out. I may end up with 2 new tires just to make sure that they're even, maybe even 4 new tires. And sometimes, that's okay because in order to get back right and feeling right, sometimes it's going to cost you some things. And in order to be able to move forward more smoothly with more confidence, it may cost you something, whether that's time, money, energy, a relationship. That's okay if it gets you back in position to where you can move forward with confidence and not have that uneasiness or that shaking going on as you're going through life. Hey, I'm Coach Kevin. Just wanted to share that experience with you. Hope it's useful. Couple takeaways here. Be sure that when you feel that something's not right, you're shaky on the inside, take the time to evaluate and figure out what that is. Slow down enough to figure out what that is. Once you've identified what that is, figure out what that next step needs to be in terms of dealing with that relationship, dealing with that invitation head on, and telling that person, no, that's not in alignment with who I am and what I'm trying to accomplish in life. Be willing to have that conversation. And sometimes that's difficult. And then thirdly, be willing to pay the price, whatever that is, to get yourself back in balance or in alignment so that things feel right moving forward and you have the confidence to accomplish what it is you set out to accomplish. Hey, I'm Determined Destiny. I'm Coach Kevin with Determined Destiny. This is what we're all about, helping our young men live more confident lives, being in control of their destiny through principle-centered living. Have a great day and look forward to talking with you soon.